Lord is with you. A reading from the Gospel according to Luke. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that the whole world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria. So all went to be enrolled, each to their own town. Joseph too went out from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth, to Judea, to the city of David that is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. There were shepherds in that region, living in the fields, keeping the night watch over their flock. The angel of the Lord appeared to them. The glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were struck with great fear. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for I proclaim to you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. Today, in the city of David, a Savior has been born for you, who is Christ and Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find an infant wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger." Suddenly, there was a multitude of the heavenly host with the angel, praising God and saying, Gloria in excelsis Deo. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. As I said at the very beginning, some gifts and presents need to be understood and are not always quickly valued at first glance. And so it is with some of our memories that maybe will prompt you to look back at some of yours regarding Christmas. Because frequently, buried maybe in the old wrappings of old stories and old memories, there are hidden gifts and hidden treasures that have been given to us to be understood for our comfort, for our consolation, for our inspiration. One of my earliest recollections as a child, later I realized my family didn't have a lot of money. They did whatever they needed to provide for the family. But I, as a child, I thought Dad liked working 3 jobs. It never dawned on me that he would do one and then just automatically go to another, and then on weekends would have a third. I just thought that was the way that families operated. And only later, when I got older, did I realize the desperation that my dad would do whatever it would take to make sure that his family was provided for. That he didn't want to be away from us, but he just would do it. And yet, on Christmas, both my mom and my dad would go to great measures to make sure that I knew that the magic and the mystery, what we as people of faith would call grace, was very evident to me. In our family tradition, the Christmas tree did not get brought into the house until Christmas Eve. And necessarily then Santa would be the one responsible for decorating the tree. As I got older, I realized who Santa was. But in those early years, somehow, even then, I wanted to be an art and environment person. And so I had expressed a desire to my mom and dad that I wished that Santa would bring a tree to my room too, my bedroom. And so I remember, as just a little kid, that first Christmas that after I had expressed that wish, that in the middle of the night, I awakened, probably because of doors opening or closing, and I couldn't see exactly what it was, and I remember grabbing for a flashlight, and it's like, in child, I was probably, I don't know, 5, 4, but I just turned on the light, and I just remember going, ah, because there was this little tiny tree in a bucket, all decorated. And that meant that the big tree probably was too. But in hindsight, we didn't have a lot. But love was first and foremost the gift of Christmas. Do you have any? What are yours? Coming from an entirely different culture and different family.
Growing up in a family that was barely making ends meet, being displaced from their homeland, their country, different culture, didn't know the language. Christmas definitely conjures a very different memory, different feelings, different emotions for me than most of my friends, and most of probably you guys here. Paul talked earlier about waking up on Christmas Day and having presents magically appear. And today, my Christmas present, apparently, was my family showing up to Mass. And so my family's sitting here, my grandpa, my dad, and my mom. As I share with most of you guys about my upbringing, very, very poor family, my dad and my mom sacrificed a lot. I can't do this.
I was just going to warn you. Did you go down that
I know. I don't look at it. My dad, growing up, it was my grandpa, my dad, my mom, my older sister, my younger sister. My dad left the family to go to Chicago, as you guys know, to study. Being poor, he wasn't always able to come home and visit us. And I remember Christmases when it was just my mom and us 3 kids. But being a kid who didn't know English, who really didn't know the culture at all, it was fine. There was no stockings hung under the chimney. There was no lights or decorations anywhere, inside or out. There was no presents under the Christmas tree. Let alone there was no Christmas tree inside the house at all when I was young. But one of the fondest memories that I have of Christmas was going with Rose, my older sister, and Kathy, my younger sister, and my mom. She would drive us to an affluent neighborhood and walk us for 4 or 5 hours of the night and just look at the lights. And as a child who didn't know any better, that was Christmas for me. That was all I knew. And that was enough. That was the only thing on my Christmas list. However, I do remember wanting a puppy that I never got.
Mrs. Duane, is it in your purse? Not in, all right. Sorry. I have to wait to get ordained to get a puppy. 1991, on Gaudete weekend, I am ordained priest on Gaudete weekend. The weekend in the season of Advent is designated. So I've joked, of course, with Michael that I am the incarnation of joy. I know. You knew there was something special about me. But I had always taken great delight in having that as my signature ordination date. And so in 1991, on that weekend, when my friend Daryl, who was 19 at the time, and I had met him just as a kid at Our Lady of Guadalupe, watched him go to Servite, Eagle Scout, all the whole works, off to Cornell University. And that was the weekend. We're both going to be crying. That was the weekend that he didn't do well on a test, and for whatever reason, he went and jumped off the bridge at Cornell. And I was the one that, for that family, I was the one that flew out that weekend to Cornell because I didn't believe that he died. In my pride, in my youthful arrogance, I refused to let it be. This could not happen. I presumed that he was obviously having some sort of breakdown, and so he was hiding somewhere, and I went to Cornell to find my friend and bring him home. And I couldn't. He was gone. And I remember coming back from that week in Cornell, 4 or 5 days there searching, and then going right into Christmas. And what I came to appreciate, and I've used it ever since, because it's a teaching grounded in experience. When I speak about joy being more important than being happy, I know what the heck I'm talking about. Because I didn't want to celebrate Christmas. I didn't want to celebrate Easter. I didn't want to really go on with a lot of stuff. But I found within myself the capacity to keep believing that somehow, even though it hurt horribly, that God was still here, God was with me, and eventually it would make sense and I would understand. And I have. I survived. And so when I speak like I do every Gaudete weekend, every year, that joy is what allows us to keep going when we're not happy. Happy comes and goes. Joy is what sustains us. I know from first-hand experience. And so that Christmas, I received a very precious gift, wrapped in a lot of suffering and pain, but a gift nonetheless, because there have been lots of other times, like yourselves, that I haven't been happy, but because that lesson was burned into my heart through that experience, I've always been able to know and trust that I will pass through whatever not happy experiences I'm going through. Because within me is the joy.
Again, first I would like to thank my mom and dad for the sacrifices they made for us kids. Cảm ơn bố mẹ rất là nhiều đã hy sinh cho các con. My dad finally came back, as I told you guys, dentist, when I was about second, third, fourth grade, somewhere around there. And it changed our family dynamic drastically. We were finally whole again. We were finally a family. And I just remember the joy it brought my siblings to have dad around. It was an amazing feeling, and it was just great. Christmases from there on, and then of course my brother came along, who's 10 years younger than me. So his Christmas experience was totally different with us three siblings. He got everything he wanted. Santa all of a sudden started giving us gifts. My younger sister, who's 2 years older than me, super smart girl, started asking Santa for gifts. And Santa gave her stuff. My older sister and I, we never asked Santa for anything. But one thing that stayed the same, stayed constant throughout my whole childhood with Christmas, is spending time with family, with the people I love, and with the people who love me. And we started extending our family of just our nuclear family. And we started including people from our church. Back at St. John's, my older sister and I, we participated in the choir, religious education, and that became all we did on Saturdays. Was that. Saturday was reserved for church day. And it was great. My friends would invite me to go out and party, go out and watch movies. But they knew if it was Saturday, I was always busy with my sister doing church stuff. And because of that, because of my upbringing, because of my love for family and my love for our faith, one of the greatest gifts that I received around Christmas time was hearing the voice of Mary, our loving mother, calling me to the most precious gift of all. And that was my vocation to the priesthood. And it was because of all the factors, the poor upbringing, the relationship with family, the relationship with church friends, all that built on each other. And that's what fostered my joy and my vocation.
Not what you expected of Christmas morning.
Oh, and I also asked for a puppy, but I didn't have
You have to understand that your parents and family were equally praying for no puppy. A story that I have shared with Michael and with other interns throughout the years is the hidden moments of priesthood that open your eyes to the relationship that we as priests have with God. Again, you've heard me, you've heard us speak of prayer and conversation with God, and the importance of that relationship. But in truth, you are very seductive. You people, the people with whom we interact, the people with whom we joke, we see, you smile, you laugh at our jokes, they're not funny. You're kind to us, and it's easy to immerse ourselves in you. It is easy for us as priests, through the guise of wanting to serve those we love, to give our all to you. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, that's all good. This is good, right? This is a good thing, right? Yes and no. Because my primary relationship that sustains me and allows me to love you and to serve you is God. And it's the truth of the story, and I've shared it countless times. 7 years old, God said hello in the backyard on a swing at night, and I was too stupid to know you don't answer a voice out of the dark. And we've been talking ever since. But it's that relationship that gives me joy, that helps me to see the love within stories and events. And so, one of the occasions that most becomes a point of come to Jesus conversation with the Almighty usually occurs on Christmas Eve.
Then, these last 3 years, Bishop decided to rip me away from the United States, pack me up, and send me to Rome. And when you're studying in Rome, you're not allowed to go back. So the last 3 Christmases, I was not home for Christmas. So this is going to be the first Christmas that I get to be home for 3 years. But I kind of cheated. Instead of flying home to Christmas, home flew to me. My siblings were able to go visit me in Europe. We traveled. We have an uncle who lives in Germany, actually, so we celebrated Christmas over there. And it was beautiful. So 2 of my sisters tell me this year, they're like, "Why are you back home? We want to go to Europe." But no, I get to be home this year. So family has always been very important to me, and that's what Christmas is. This year, getting assigned here at Santa Clara, helping Father Fred decorate this beautiful church of ours. It took a whole Wednesday, 10 whole hours, 12 whole hours, but it was worth it. It was really, really worth it. Seeing all of you guys here happy, enjoying it, taking pictures. Because as I grow older, my family extends also. From the very small unit of my mom and my sisters, to my friends in seminary, and now to you all. You guys really have taught me how to love and how to be loved. And that's the greatest Christmas gift I've ever received. And that puppy that I kept on mentioning every year, I still wish for it this year. And I got something even better. On Friday, my older sister got married. So instead of getting a puppy this year, I got a brother-in-law. So, that's not the Christmas is about incarnation. It's about God becoming man. Jesus came into the life of Joseph and Mary and made their family whole. It's all about family. He made the whole family. Joseph, Mary, and Jesus. But that wasn't it. He also came to be our brother. We are his brothers and sisters in Christ. He came so that we can be a universal family, united under God. And that's what Christmas means to me.
We share these stories to prompt you, because these are ours. But you have lived Christmases. Frequently they get wrapped up in the trappings and the events and the expectations. But somehow woven within a lot of them, there are insights, inspirations, truths, and teachings and wisdom waiting for you to discover. And so by way of our sharing, it's meant to encourage you, even if it brings tears, to look back. Because Christmas has a way of crystallizing things in our lives. It is a particular season of great import. And I encourage you, we encourage you. This is Wonder Counselor, Father forever, Prince of Peace, God Hero, Jesus, the Son of God. Blessed are we invited to the supper of the Lamb.
Lord, I come with you to eat and drink. Only say the word, and my soul shall be healed.
Those with nothing to
things to get on to, so please stand. The Lord is with you. And the Almighty God watch over, protect, and bless you.